James looked at his reflection in the barbershop mirror, his hands slightly shaking as he counted the cash from his Friday tips. $35. A soft hip-hop track played on the radio, but all he could hear was the noise of his own debts. Another month, just like the last, he thought. The question that followed him every night was simple and brutal. Why did the clients who showed up in BMWs talk about stocks and real estate, while he struggled just to cover rent? James had been cutting hair in the same barbershop for 18 years. The shop was in a working-class neighborhood in Chicago. He was 42 years old, had 2 daughters in private school, and a wife, Emma, who worked as an administrative assistant. His monthly income ranged between $3,500 and $4,200. Tips were unpredictable. Some months they reached $1,000, other months barely $400. Money that comes in is money that goes out, his Aunt Rosa used to say every time she saw him walk in with grocery bags. But no one saw the real problem. James had no plan. His money disappeared through invisible cracks. Utilities, credit card payments, takeout meals, and clothes that his daughters urgently asked for. By the end of the month, after everything was paid, there was almost nothing left. About $150. Money for emergencies, for savings, for dreams. I make decent money, but I live like I don't, he told himself during sleepless nights. The crisis arrived on a Tuesday, without warning. His youngest daughter, Lily, needed dental treatment that cost $3,000. He didn't have it. His credit card was maxed out. The bank rejected his personal loan request. James felt real panic, the kind that tightens your chest and makes it hard to breathe. That night, while cutting hair, a client noticed his expression. His name was Ronan. He worked in insurance and came into the shop every 2 weeks. "You all right, man?" Ronan asked as he sat in the chair. James hadn't planned to open up, but the words came out anyway. He told him everything: the income, the debt, the fear of not being able to help his daughter. Ronan listened quietly while James worked. When they reached the final touches, Ronan asked a question that changed everything. How much money actually comes into your household every month, all combined? James did the math quickly. Around $4,000 to $4,500. Ronan smiled. Then you earn like a successful guy, but you spend like someone broke. He explained that there was a simple rule that separated people who built wealth from those who stayed stuck, regardless of income. It was called the 10% rule. From every dollar that comes in, you set aside 10% before touching anything else. That money isn't for today. It's for your family's future, for peace of mind. James was skeptical. 10%? That's only about $400. Ronan nodded. Exactly. And that money has one rule. You never touch it. Not for emergencies, not for temptations. It goes into a separate account and grows. That night, James didn't sleep. But this time, it wasn't anxiety. It was a new question. What if this actually works? The next day, he went to the bank and spoke to an advisor. To his surprise, the advisor confirmed everything Ronan said. They opened an automatic savings account with $400 transfer every time James got paid. Here's where it got hard. James was still earning the same income, but now $400 disappeared automatically. That left about $3,600 to live on. This isn't enough, James thought during the first week. Emma confirmed it when they reviewed expenses. Credit cards, school tuition, groceries, utilities, everything still felt urgent. James panicked again and found Ronan one Sunday at a local park. He told him it wasn't working. "The $400 is killing us," James said. Ronan listened, then asked something simple. "When was the last time you tracked every single dollar you spent?" James didn't have an answer. Ronan suggested an experiment. For a week, James would write down every expense. No judgment, just truth. That week changed everything. James discovered he spent $180 a week on takeout, another $220 on streaming services and subscriptions no one used, around $80 on clothes his daughters wanted but didn't need. And then there was the ghost money. ATM withdrawals that vanished, more than $300 a month he couldn't account for. "I have to choose," James told Ronan. "Every dollar I spend here is a dollar that doesn't go towards the future." He made small changes, packed lunch instead of ordering food, canceled unnecessary subscriptions, talked to his daughters about helping save money. To his surprise, they understood. Those changes freed up about $400 a month. Combined with the automatic savings, James was now living comfortably again. 4 months later, the real test arrived. Lily needed the dental treatment. James checked his savings account. $1,600. Not enough, but something. He applied for a loan of only $1,400. This time, the bank said yes. Instead of borrowing the full $3,000, he only needed part of it. The interest rate was lower, the term was shorter. But the biggest change wasn't financial. For the first time in 18 years, James didn't feel trapped. The plan worked. He paid for Lily's treatment. While her smile slowly improved, his savings kept growing. After 1 year, he had $7,000. After 2 years, $15,000. The mirror question changed. Not why don't I have money, but what should I do with the money I've saved? Ronan suggested investing $15,000 into a low-risk fixed income fund, earning about 4.5% annually. That's around $675 a year doing nothing, Ronan explained. James paused. So my money works even when I don't work? Exactly, Ronan said, but only if you don't need it today. James invested part of it, not everything, just enough. He kept saving $400 every month. The change was quiet, but powerful. His income stayed the same, the 10% stayed automatic, expenses stayed under control. His investment now generated about $55 a month without effort. The next year, his savings hit $22,000. The investment earned even more. For the first time in his life, James had no debt. Credit cards paid off, rent stable, his daughter's future felt secure. The 10% rule isn't a sacrifice, it's permission to live without fear. 3 years later, the barbershop expanded. James became a partner and helped open a second location. His income grew to $6,000 to $7,000 a month. The 10% became $600 to $700 automatically. His investment portfolio reached $45,000, generating over $1,500 a year in passive income. His daughters went to college. Emma left her job to help manage the business. One afternoon, a young client sat in James's chair, nervous and restless. "How do you do it?" the client asked. "How do you move ahead while others stay stuck?" James smiled, seeing his old self in the mirror. "I'll tell you a story. It's simple, but it has to start today. Because the difference between rich and poor isn't income. It's deciding to save before spending, automating what matters, and choosing patience over impulse. Small decisions, repeated daily, change lives. The 10% rule isn't magic. It's simple math.